Jungkook cried hysterically in public, while Jin suddenly left Korea for an exclusive invitation with Gucci in Italy. These two shocking events shook ARMY's hearts and raised big questions. What is really happening behind the scenes of BTS? Is this just a tragic coincidence, or is there something deeper being hidden? Jungkook's tears, captured by the camera, set social media on fire. A short video shows him covering his face with his hands, his voice breaking, and his body appearing to tremble. Many fans immediately interpreted that there was emotional pressure that he could no longer hide. Comments poured in. Some blamed the overly packed schedule, while others suspected a more serious internal factor. This situation became even more dramatic because at the same time, Jin appeared with a different agenda, leaving Korea to attend a big Gucci event in Italy. The contrast between Jungkook's tears and Jin's formal smile in front of the international camera sparked heated conversations among fans. How could these two extreme events happen almost simultaneously? ARMY feels torn. Some understand that Jin is carrying out his professional duties as a brand ambassador, but many also feel that the timing is very inappropriate. We're losing moments of togetherness, while they seem far apart. One fan wrote on Twitter, "Speculation ran wild when photos of Jin at the airport spread widely. Dressed in elegant Gucci attire, he looked confidently towards the plane." On one hand, the public is proud of Jin's achievements, which continue to be taken into account in the global fashion world. But on the other hand, Jungkook's tears seem to be a dark shadow haunting that pride. ARMY also wondered, is there internal tension behind the glittering popularity of BTS? Korean media highlighted these two phenomena with large headlines, describing them as emotional days for ARMY. Jungkook, who is known for always appearing strong, is now showing a fragile side that is rarely seen. Entertainment psychologists assess that this moment shows the extraordinary burden carried by an idol who is always required to be perfect. Tears like that are not a sign of weakness, but a signal that a limit has been exceeded, said an expert interviewed by an entertainment portal. Meanwhile, Jin's move to Italy is seen as a symbol of separation. Not only geographically, but also emotionally, at least in the eyes of fans. Several fanbases even uploaded photo collages comparing Jungkook crying with Jin smiling in front of the Gucci camera. This comparison sparked fierce debate. Was Jin being too cold, or was he just carrying out professional obligations that he couldn't refuse? What makes the situation even more complex is how ARMY itself responds with mixed emotions. There is a sense of pride, anxiety, disappointment, as well as sympathy. They feel that BTS is now at a difficult crossroads between maintaining a global image and facing personal pressures. "We often forget that they are also human," wrote a fan in a community forum. This expression received thousands of approvals, showing how much public concern there is for the psychological condition of their idols. Behind it all, there is also an analysis of the entertainment industry's strategy. Jin's presence in Italy is seen as proof that BTS, even in a stressful situation, remains a major magnet for the world's luxury brands. However, this raises ethical questions. Does this international spotlight actually deepen the emotional gap felt by Jungkook and perhaps other members? Is the entertainment world too demanding, to the point that the human side of idols is often ignored? Currently, ARMY is still awaiting official clarification from the agency. Until this article was written, there has been no statement that clearly answers the reason behind Jungkook's tears or Jin's decision to leave in the midst of this sensitive situation. This ambiguity is only widening the space for speculation. Media, fans, and even industry observers are all trapped in an endless circle of questions. What is certain is that these two moments will become part of the emotional record of BTS's journey. For ARMY, the day when Jungkook cried hysterically while Jin flew to Italy was not just ordinary entertainment news. It became a symbol of vulnerability, professionalism, and collective heartbreak that rarely occurs in the history of global fandom. The biggest question now, will BTS be able to get through this storm intact, or will this incident be the beginning of a more difficult chapter in their journey? Jungkook cried hysterically, Jin left for Italy for Gucci, and ARMY is heartbroken. This news does sound dramatic, almost like a film plot. However, let's stop for a moment and ask, Did all of this really happen as reported, or is it just pieces of a narrative arranged to appear sensational? Is it possible that Jungkook's tears and Jin's departure were just two separate events that happened to coincide, but were polished by the media to look like a major conflict? This question is important because the public is often trapped in a stream of information that is not fully verified. The video of Jungkook crying has indeed been circulating widely on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. But did it really happen at the same moment as Jin's departure? Does that video clip show the whole context, or just a small fragment chosen to make it look dramatic? Doesn't social media often exaggerate small events until they look like big storms? If that's true, aren't we as viewers becoming part of a narrative game designed to trigger emotions and engagement? Meanwhile, Jin's departure to Italy for the Gucci event is clearly an official agenda and verified through global fashion media. But was his departure directly related to Jungkook's condition, or did it just coincide in time? Why are we so quick to connect the two, as if there is a hidden common thread? Is this a manifestation of the human need to always look for connections, even when the existing facts do not necessarily support it? Let's reflect. Is ARMY really crying because of this event? Or is that cry more of a collective emotional reflection formed due to media influence? Couldn't the disappointment and sadness that went viral on Twitter have been born from a certain framing, not from a complete event that was fully understood? The question is, do we really know the truth behind Jungkook's tears, or are we just consuming pieces of a narrative that have been deliberately twisted to make it look heartbreaking? This kind of sensation often happens in the entertainment world. News is made with dramatic headlines, photos or videos are chosen in such a way, then shown massively to create the impression of a big conflict. But do we realize that what we see may only be the tip of the iceberg, while most of the context is hidden? Furthermore, are we able to be skeptical of every clickbait title, or do we prefer to get carried away in the stream of emotions presented by the media? It cannot be denied that the public is often thirsty for drama. But does that thirst for drama actually make us ignore the actual facts? For example, is it true that Jungkook's tears were caused by something big, or could it just be a personal emotional moment that was then raised by the media into a global issue? Is it true that Jin deliberately left Korea when Jungkook was crying, or was he just carrying out a professional contract that had been scheduled for a long time? These questions should be an alarm for all of us to be more critical. If we only follow the flow without thinking, aren't we vulnerable to being manipulated by narratives that are deliberately built for the sake of sensationalism? Aren't there already too many cases where entertainment news turns out to be just lies, fabrications, or even hoaxes? If so, do we want to repeat the same mistake by swallowing raw the information circulating now? Let's examine it further. There are so many accounts on TikTok and YouTube that use this issue as content material. They create dramatic titles, edit videos to make them look emotional, then invite scathing comments and tears from netizens. But is their goal really to provide information, or just to seek attention and profit from clicks and views? Are we aware that the more viral an issue is, the greater the potential for it to be manipulated for the benefit of certain parties?